Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we're taking a look at Black Angel.
Which is a new game from Pearl Games. Designed by Sebastian Dujardin, Xavier Georges and Alain Orban, which probably is pronounced exactly that way.
Yes, so let's go down to the table and see how it plays.
On your turn, you can either do a sequence A or a sequence B, where sequence A is what you want to do the most times. With sequence A, you are going to choose a die, either one of your own or one of the opponent's dice. If you are using one of the opponents, you have to pay a crystal resource, and if you're using one of your own, you can spend a debris cube, a red cube like this, to flip it over to the other side, making it 2 more. So I wouldn't do it with a 3, but let's say I had this 1, I would take it, I would spend the debris from my player board, which I'm going to explain soon, and turn it around to a number 3. I do not have a space for the player board, so let's just explain how it looks. It looks like this. That's not explaining, that's showing, but it looks like this. On this player board, you're going to have space for your resources and also your different technologies and some of your advanced technology tiles, which will give you points at the end of the game. These technologies will be triggered during events of the game, so it's going to give you different actions throughout the game. On the playboard here, we have different actions depending on what kind of die you took. So let's say I took this number 3 green. I can do one of these green actions, or I could do a green action out on the board. There is none here now. And also, just so that you know, this is supposed to be longer, but my table isn't big enough for this huge game. So we can do different actions. I'm going to just do them briefly. You can go over here to attack these Ravagers. But if I go here and there's a Ravager card and I need to do some negative effect before I can do that action. If I cannot do the effect, I will lose a point. So here I can kill the amount of Ravagers that I put here. 1, 2, or 3. Over here with the blue or gray die, you can repair the ship, getting these debris cubes. And with this you can trigger your technology tiles, giving you double actions or more actions. Bonus actions is what I'm looking for, bonus actions. Over here you can buy new technology tiles. Either these basic ones is going to give you actions throughout the game, or these advanced ones is going to give you points at the end of the game. And the other 3 actions are the same action, just going to talk about different colored cards. So with the yellow one, I can move my dude in one of the nice little ships around the table. If I end at a yellow planet, I can then play a yellow card from my hand, which is going to go out here and make a new action spot. Or it's just going to be a spot which is going to give me a bonus when it goes out of circulation, which I'm going to come to soon. We're going to get some new Ravagers attacking, and we're going to get some new technology tiles depending on where and what card I played. That is the actions out here. The cards you put out here is mostly going to be conversion actions or actions that gives you resources. So it either can be for each pip on your die, get a resource and a robot. Or it could be change a robot and a resource into 3 points, 1, 2, or 3 times depending on the amount of pips. That is basically sequence A. You're going to draw a card at the end of that round. When you're doing sequence B, it's basically I have no more dice or I don't want to do anything more. You're going to roll your dice depending on the amount of robots you have in these 3 spaces. You're going to roll your new dice. You can lock one of the dice paying a resource. And then you are going to advance the Black Angel. So let's say there was... Oh, it fell off. I never done that before actually. Let's say there was another one here that's going to move here. And this is going to be flipped over and put at the front. So all the cards that was on this row which was flipped, they're going to trigger if there are cards that trigger when they fall off, or they're just going to be given to the people who own them. The cards that trigger when they fall off basically gives you resources or points, and you're going to play this until you reach Spes, which is the planet that you're trying to get to, or until all of these Ravagers are killing you.
As always, let's start with the artwork and components, and what do you think?
I think it looks amazing. It looks so good on the table. Tool has done an amazing job.
He has.
As usual.
2 times.
And the components. This ship looks amazing.
It
and
does,
also
yeah.
the little tiny ships for the dudes.
The robots, which is called, not dudes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's so
really,
satisfying.
Really good.
They look really cute and really tiny, and also I know what you call it, resources, and the debris. It looks really good.
Yeah, the debris is usually basically just a red cube,
but all the ties together
it works
and
really well,
it's really nice.
What I think is really nice, if you haven't, you've probably already seen it more because you've watched the video, but if you skipped the rules and you haven't seen this game any time before, just take a look at this board. Like, this is not a typical space board. This is a beautiful, different colored space board, and I just love that he's made this. It just looks amazing with the purple and the pink and the blue. Just works really well for this kind of space game.
Yes, I
One
agree.
thing that needs to be said about this game, with components wise, is that it's huge.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
you need
space.
a big table to be able to play this. Okay, these pieces are pretty big. You're gonna have 7 of these,
Yes, and you
then
also
you're gonna
have your personal board.
your own of these, and you're gonna have this board. So it's a big table hog, but it does look good on the table. So if
And
you
it's
have it
worth
there,
it.
it looks like, spoiler alert,
Oh.
it looks like a really nice space thing. Like, it feels like you're in space. Like, it really, really looks like space, which is good for a space game.
Yes, it feels like you're moving forward on
In
towards the
space.
planet. Yeah.
On space. On the
space.
conveyor belt of space.
It's actually spaces in space. That's
It's
cool.
spaces in space, yeah. So, should we spend more time on artwork, or should we go on
No,
to things that
let's
people
go
care about?
onward.
People do care about artwork as well. They do. Let's talk about ease of learning from the rulebook. We have this rulebook here, which is 16 pages long. I think most of it is actually rules. Page 15 is the solo, so page 15 and 16 is the solo game, and other than that, it's pretty well laid out. It has a lot of pictures. It's easy to understand, like, it's easy laid out, not just chunks of text, but just easy with different colors for different actions, and just pretty straightforward. Like, when we talk about complexity, you will understand that the rules aren't that heavy, but it's easy to understand the rules. Like, there is a lot of rules overhead when I teach it, because there's many different things, but learning it from the rules is pretty simple.
Yeah. Cool.
So the first time I taught it, let's just talk about that when teaching it. Like, the first time I used 45 minutes, but that was the first time I taught it. I usually use more time because I have to remember all the rules in my head. But last time I played it, I taught it in 25 minutes, so I got it down almost to half the time. So it's not that huge of a game if you're used to playing heavier games that takes a while to teach.
Yeah.
So let's talk playtime and player count.
Yes, as always, I don't mind the time flying by. I don't really notice it.
Flying like...
But we had some. I notice when people have some IP.
Mm-hmm.
I don't notice when I myself have IP problems. But yeah, and I think it scales good. I don't feel like time is rushing by, but I don't feel like it's overstaying its welcome.
It should be said that we played 2 and 4 players. That's the first thing you should say in playtime.
That's
in play
true.
count. Because we didn't play 3 players. We only played 2 and 4.
Then you could say that. That's amazing.
I can say it after you said it scales well.
Yes.
That's a really good way of doing it, because then you can just watch this part first and then watch the other part.
Yes,
like
so go back
space
now.
time
Yes.
travel or something. But the thing, like, we played 2 and 4 players. We didn't have the chance to play 3. It took us 2 hours and 10 minutes with 2 players, and took us about 2 hours with 4 players. So yeah, it takes almost the same amount of time with 2 as with 4.
But
I think that might have been because it was your first time playing.
Yeah,
but I had
absolutely.
played it before, so I don't think you will see like a huge difference in playtime, because you do have like fewer of these which Black Angel is moving along. You have only 5 of these in a 2-player game, so you are going to do like fewer resets, but then again you are going to use almost not the same amount of dice, but because you have the third player, which like simulated, you're gonna have almost the same amount of dice in the beginning of the game as a 3-player game. But it should take a bit shorter with 2. I think
Yeah,
if you
I
play it
think so
again
too.
now, it's gonna be shorter. But about 2-hour playtime doesn't feel too long for me.
No, me neither. I enjoy the 2.5 hours. Yeah.
So player count works really nice. Like, I think it scales well. One thing to note, of course, is that it is a 2-player variant, or a 2-player version, which is almost like in Twi. If you play that, which you have like a neutral player, which have some dice that you can use in the beginning, as to not rush the game, because when you reset, you move on these, and if you would only have the dice pool of both of us, then it would happen faster, and we wouldn't really get to play the game long enough.
But
for
I
everything to
really
happen.
like the way they've done it in this game. That the third like simulator player, it disappears when you've built your engine up enough. Yeah.
So it's only
I
going to be
like
there in the
that.
beginning
I think that's
before
cool.
you add as many dice
You
as
don't
you
really
have into it.
notice it.
No,
that
it's
a fake player.
No, because
No.
it doesn't do anything. It's just there to spend dice.
Yeah.
So it works really nice. I think 4 players. We talked about like with 2 players, the game feels a bit more strategic because not so much happens between your turns.
Yeah, and it's limited how many people can steal your dice and like mess up the things you're planning if you're just playing like back and forth.
Yeah.
But with more players, stuff can happen and you have to like rethink what you're going to do. But also the map is emptier with 2 players.
Yeah,
It's
it depends
fewer-
on how you play. Really,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I didn't feel too big a difference because it really depends on how the players play
Yeah,
the game.
absolutely.
Really depends on how aggressive they are at putting cards, the mission cards out on the board. And I think you can go heavy for that in 2 players and have almost the same amount as in a
Yeah, that's
4-player game because not everybody can focus
Yeah.
on that. But when we played, we didn't do because I think that we can talk about that later when we come to gameplay.
Yes.
But the thing I wanted to add is that like the game feels a lot more tactical, as you said, in 4 players because you ended up rolling your dice, like resetting, and when it came back to you, you haven't no dice left because everybody bought your dice, and we ended up almost all of us, probably because we were new and nobody knew how to play, and we tried not to reset, which probably was horrible. But yeah, it felt like sometimes you could just roll and you probably wouldn't be able to use your dice. But the way I like to look at it is that it isn't your dice; it's just dice you roll are the ones you can use for free, and the other ones you have to pay to use. So I don't like to look at it as my dice, but free dice.
Yeah, I agree with that, but you can't change the other dice, so it's
Yeah,
actually a huge
they are better.
difference.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, they are better dice. But yeah, but I think it works really well with both. I think that if we played more with 4 players, I think that would be evened out a bit after we get to learn the game even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, but we have experienced some kind of like waiting game to not be the one who resets.
Yeah, and I think that's probably because we were not playing
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It felt like that. Like it felt like, why didn't you just reset now? It was really stupid to buy a 1 from you and do a really horrible action instead of resetting.
That's true.
But
Yes.
that's just the players we play with, and that happened. So complexity. How complex is this game? Would you say? Like the rules. You have learned the rules. Like I've taught the rules. You have learned the rules. How complex would you say they are?
I've played Troy before though, so some of the concepts were familiar to me from before, but I don't think it was so complicated. I would say this is a medium in weight.
Yeah, it's a medium heavy. Like it's between medium and heavy. It's not like it's heavier than like Rogers of the Ganges or like one of those kind of games which I have. Let's not get into that discussion. But what is the heavy game? But the rules, they're all kind of a lot of rules, like things that get put together, like this connects to that, which connects to this. And when we played 4-player last, there was a couple of rules. Like you are so used to learning a lot of rules, but the other players we played with, they are also used to playing games. But they were like, oh, "How did this work again?" And you had played once before, so the first time you play, you're gonna be like, "Okay, how with this action was I gonna put the card out, or how can I use the card that's on the table, and how?" So you just have there are a lot of small details which makes it harder to play the first time you play, but which I think is just something that happens when it's a bigger, heavier game.
I think the most like fiddly thing is the Ravager cards that you have to remember that you have some negative things when it's Ravager cards there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing that got mostly forgotten when we played, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So complexity wise, like the game, as we says, feel like it's not that heavy to play either. Really, like when it's my turn, I have the options. Like it's not. I cannot like sit
kind of
and
limited.
I cannot plan like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this and this because I don't know what dice are available to me.
Yeah.
So it's not like super heavy planning wise. It's not super heavy strategically. It's more like doing what the best you can with the things you have. Of course, if you put out a mission card, it's going to be trading 3 robots and 3 resources or a robot or a resource for 3 points. Then you're going to try to, of course, build up those resources and then be able to go and do that.
Yeah,
so you have those kind of building up to getting combos and building up to doing the points. But it doesn't feel like a super heavy game to play. It's not like a brain-burning game.
Yeah, I think like the most strategic and like heavy aspect of the game is finding your strategy and figuring out how to make it work. But actually the round, you have no, kind of limited options, so it's not a lot to think about when it comes to you. So the turn like plays out pretty quick, and when you have your choices your dice to choose between, it's kind of obvious choices sometimes.
Okay, so we have already talked pretty much about gameplay because it felt right to do it in these kind
Yeah, I agree.
of topics. And now let's talk about more gameplay and also fun factor. Is the game fun? Because it can be complex, it can be good at our player counts, it can be all that, but is it fun like it should be here at Board Gaming Ramblings? Because we like fun, especially me. You're just looking at me strange. So, what do you think? What do you think about the gameplay? Is there any topics you want to take up? Is there any topics you want to speak about? And do you think it's fun?
Yes, I think it's fun. I think it has a lot of interesting mechanics, mechanisms. I think I like the board that moves and how the actions are on there, and that you have to
You mean
plan.
space
Yeah,
tiles,
the space
yeah.
tiles, and you have to like, oh, I want to use this action many times, so I have to like move it so it stays a long time on the board. I think that's really interesting, and also I think the resource management in this game is really cool, because there's so many times when I'm just like, oh, I want to do this and that, and I don't have enough workers, and to get those workers with this action, I need workers and ships. So yeah, I think that's really cool.
I think one thing that I'm just going to speak against myself now, because I think one thing you have to be able to do in this game to be good at it is some kind of long-term planning. So not like a strategy, like I can't have, as I said, you can't really strategize to plan the turns because of the dice, but I think that the way I usually tend to play games where I go and just get cheap points, I can win that way, but like going and always putting the cards down that's just going to give me 6 points when it rolls off, that's a lot of resources for those 6 points, because it's 2 robots and a spaceship, and I'm going to have to get those back, so I really had to have a way to get those back. So it might be easier to put a card out like really high up in space, which is going to roll off really slowly, and I can build up those resources and use it like 2 or 3 times with a 2-pip or 3-pip dice to get like 6 or 9 points each time. That's going to give me a better use of my resources, I think. So for me, that's something I want to explore more in the game, to be better at it, because I'm not really good. I have a couple of cheap strategies which have worked because none of us have been really good at it, especially just going spamming black technology tiles at the end of the game, which is something that we have spoke about, like the yellow die feel like a die that can, the only color of die that can always do something.
Yeah.
Because all of the dice can go out in space and put out cards, and that is good if you have cards you want to use.
All of them could use actions if they're out on the spaceport.
Yeah, but then you have to be there and go to there
Yes.
and be able to use it. But the blue one or the gray one you can use to take off debris. So if there's no debris, you cannot use it. And that depends on how many people are playing cards in space. And the other one as well depends on the same thing, which is killing the Ravagers. And that's depending on the same thing. But the yellow dice you can always use to take technology.
Yeah.
So if you have a 2-pip or more of a yellow, you can always use it for something good. And getting the technology tiles on to this and doing that puzzle of getting the activating them to get bonuses is really cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
like that.
Basically, like free resources, free
Yeah, and I think
actions.
you need to do this to be good at a game. Like you need to, and that's one of the reasons you need to reset, because you're starting to fill up the spots that are good, and you really have to reset to get off often you can use it again. And the debris are really good when you can get them to activate them. I really like this, and like the thing that you're going to try to push off the black ones are going to give you the most points, and giving you more points if you have cards that have fallen out of space in these different colors. So I like that.
This is really interesting too. Yeah,
I really enjoy a lot of the things in this game, the things the game does. It does now feel like when we talked about it, like it feels like if people are not good at doing the space, like if people are not good at exploiting it and getting the cards that get points, it's easiest to win by just getting a lot of black tiles.
Yes, absolutely. I think so.
We played it 3 times we played. It's the person who went for the heavy black tiles who won.
Yeah.
You didn't have as much the last time we played, but you did a couple of these 9-pointers as well, so you started to get into space. But the time we played, I basically won. I got half of my points on the black tiles.
Yeah.
Just spam those, but with everybody doing it, you can't do it because there's not enough yellow dice, but it feels, kind of like that. But I'm pretty sure that when people get better and you go into space, it's going to be different.
Yeah, I just like your quote. If people aren't good on space.
If people aren't good on space, go to technology and be ways.
But I think we have to talk about familiarities with Troy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I think they have taken some of the mechanisms, like the actions on the spacebar and also dice drafting mechanism, and they've taken those out of Troy and made another game. I feel like it's like that because they're different games.
They are really different games, yeah. But I am unsure which game I like the most.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the big difference here, and it's not like you can't really, but it's impossible to not compare them because they are from the same designers and they have a lot of the same similarities. I like what they have done, even though we haven't been really good. I like what they have done with the mission cards out here instead of the cards which are coming up. It's more to get into, like having this in my hand, and also, but like the negative side again is that these are kind of generic. It's usually get something or spend one or two things to get points, and it's just like combinations of the difference. It's basically ships, debris, cards. It's 5 different resources. Spend them to get points.
Yeah. I'm disagreeing with myself now that I think about it. I like Troy the most, but it doesn't matter because they're 2 different games. So what I like the most isn't actually that important because it will feel different to everybody. I think because they're so different.
It will be different, like kind of what you liked in Twa and what you didn't like in Twa. But it is kind of like it's kind of like with Terraforming, like not Terraform Mars, but Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, they are kind of similar, so you will have like a favorite. And I like here you take 1 die and that's it. In Twa you had to choose, like, if I want to do 1, 2, or 3 dice. Do I want to buy 1 die from you and use 2 of my own? And that's going to be super expensive in coins. And then you have like all the different pips, and you, instead of like 1 pip is 1 activation, 2 is 2, and 3 is 3. The different actions were different. Like this is a 4 difficulty actions. For every 4 pip you get to do it. And I think I like that better than I like in Black Angel.
Yeah, I agree.
It's still very good. It's different and it's super fun, but I do think that I enjoy and also the fact that the mission cards or the action cards will come out.
Yeah.
It's not upon the players to play them great.
That's true.
I really like it. It has to be like that with this. I'm taking this up like 16 times in this video. If you haven't seen this yet, they are here. But I like that, like the rolling thing that they did here, which makes that a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But I do think that I enjoyed the missions. There's 3 of each, isn't it? Like 2, 3 of each was coming up during the game. I do maybe think I like the Ravagers better than like the events, like the negative events in Twa, because those were more harsh. Those were like, okay, if you go here, you lose 60 billion coins. And you had more, it was more like you have to go and get them. And you were more like forced to do it.
Yeah.
Here it's more like, I really want to do that action more. But do you also want to do that? But I have to go and take those Ravagers, and they're also good because I can activate technologies with them.
That's cool. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I'm split. I'm torn because they have some negatives, they have some positives, but all in all, I think I like Troy the best.
Yeah. So let me ask you the question: if after we film this review, we're gonna play either Black Angel or Twa, what do you want to play?
Right now, I want to play Black Angel because I think, but it's true. Right now, I want to play Black Angel because I think I can do it better. I think I can play better than I do now. And I really want to get to that point where I'm just, okay, now I get this game. I feel like I'm not there with Black Angel yet, and I think that's cool. I think it's really cool.
You can get better.
But I also really want to play Troy.
Yeah, and
but not right now, because now I want to figure this game out.
I'm unsure. Like, if Twa is your favorite game, I don't know if you need this. Like, but if you haven't played Twa or you like it, this is not going to change that. It's not going to be like, oh, I hate Twa.
I think you need to get it because this gives you a new challenge. If you feel you get Twa now, you could do this. This is different. but you get the mechanisms that you like. Yeah, cool.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Like, if you are like most gamers, you have more than 10 games. But
You want to get this game.
if you have 10 games, I don't know, Miss Twa, maybe you don't need it.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a really good game. I am like, let's talk replayability before we do final thoughts.
We're rambling a lot.
No,
so
we are. I don't feel we're rambling, but I think we are filling it with interesting topics.
Start with replayability.
Yeah, it's decent. Like I think it's better replayability in Trois because you have the different actions that will come out each time. Here you are basically doing the same thing every time because of the generic cards. Because they are. It's not gonna feel different. It's very different if I play this where I get 3 points and 3 robots, or if I play a card where I get 3 resources and 3 debris. Like, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be. Oh, this game is another different puzzle. I feel like the puzzle here is almost the same. It kind of makes a difference which technology tiles come out, but then again not, because there's not many different ones, so there will be like the same one. I like that. Like, I love that there's not too many different ones because it's easier to remember and it's not luck based that you got that super good technology and I didn't get anyone. So I think there's like the thing that makes this replayable is that you can get better. Like, that you will enjoy the process and you will get better, but the game feels the same every time you play for me.
Yeah, I think what makes it like more or less replayable is the people you played with, the playstyles they have, and also what playstyle you're going for yourself. Because you can, in theory, just go for the same type of strategy all the time, and you can have people over that does the same things every time. So then it will be boring, I think, in the long run. But if you and your group is eager to like try different things each time, I think there's some replayability.
Yeah, but the game itself is not giving you a lot of variation or a lot of variability in the game state. So it's mostly for enjoying the gameplay and for getting better at playing the game. So replayability, don't think it's too good, but it's good enough. It's decent. I could play this 5-6 times without getting bored.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts. Do you want to start?
Yes, I can start. I think it's a different game than Trois.
Yeah.
And that's great. I like it. I like Black Angel and I want to play it more. And I feel like this is a game that really gives me this feeling that, I want to play it, I want to solve it, I want to crack it, I want to get this game in my head. I want to get how it works and how I can be good at it. And I think it's above average. So I'm going to give this a 7.5.
7.5 from you.
Yes.
Okay, so the first time I played Black Angel, I didn't fall in love. The games that I really love are games where the first time I play, I just understand this is it. This is a game just... My heart is pumping and I'm just feeling like this is fun, this is fun, this is fun. I didn't get that from playing this the first time. That might have been the hype. That might have been me looking forward to this game for almost a year. But then I played it again, I liked it more. And I played it again, I liked it even more. So it's a really good game. It's beautiful. It's super solid. Like, everything makes sense. The rules are really good. Everything, it's fun to play. It's super fun to play. It has nice interaction. And it is a super fun game. Is it the best game I played this year? It's not. Is it a game I'm going to keep? I already said that. It is a game we are going to keep in our collection. I'm going to give it an 8. So it's a bit higher than you. I am usually more enthusiastic than you. So usually my ratings are a bit higher skewed than you. But I really like it. It might end up in the top 10 for this year. I'm kind of... This is going to sound strange. I don't hope it will. Like, I hope I will play 10 games I like better than this. Essen is soon here, and there's so many games on that list. We are making a top 10 anticipated Essen games list. We are doing that, some people asked, but that's not in this review. So, yeah, it's a very good game. A 7.5 from you, and an 8 from me. That is Black Angel.
Yes.
And that's the end of the review, right?
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I'm Johannes.
And I'm Senra.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, as I already said, and bye-bye.